So I think most medical students use Sketchy and know it's probably the best resource for long-term memorization for micro and Pharm. I also used a bit of Sketchy Path, and I think they did a great job with that as well. I tried Googling to try to find a guide to figure out the most efficient way to actually get through Sketchy Medical, and I realized that there wasn't really one online. I see a lot of people using printouts of screenshots. You can buy workbooks from Sketchy. I know people who would watch the video 5 times and then try to recreate the entire scene from their head. I just don't think any of these are the most efficient way to get the material down. So there's really 2 things you need to do to learn Sketchy, and that's first you need to learn the associations between the pictures and the facts, and then you learn how to quickly pull that information out of your head. So I'm going to try to show you what I think is the fastest way to learn the associations, and then the fastest way to get it so it sticks. The way I came across this was that during second year I used Sketchy Micro. I basically watched the videos a bunch, and I skipped over Sketchy Pharm because at the time I thought the videos were just too long, so I just used Anki for Pharm. And by the end of third year clerkships, I realized that I still knew all the micro stuff that I learned from Sketchy, but anything that I just used Anki for was completely gone from my head. So my school takes STEP after third year, so I decided I wanted to get all of Sketchy Pharm done during dedicated. So I knew I had to be as efficient as possible to get it done. So by trial and error, I think I found the fastest way to get through Sketchy. So at first I started rewatching the Sketchy Micro videos, and I realized that I didn't remember a single fact that was mentioned in the videos, but that wasn't on the pictures. I also realized that the video narratives themselves are entertaining, but I never actually utilized the narratives to pull information from my memory. I think the creators did a really good job of tying all the pictures together, and it's really intuitive, so you don't need to be told by the narrator what the theme is. So I decided that watching the videos is a very passive way of studying, so that's not the most productive use of your time. So I decided to try to do Sketchy Pharm without watching the videos, and it turned out to be very efficient and everything stuck. So I was able to fly through Pharm in a very short period of time. You can still watch the videos and do the method I'm going to show you, but I would recommend watching them at 2 times speed and not taking any notes and just trying to get an overview and then going through the review like I'm going to show. The micro videos are really short, but then when you move on to Pharm and Path, you realize the videos are much longer, so it takes a much larger chunk of time. So the way I'm going to show you is using the review feature that is available from the subscription. There's also PDFs that you can download online, but I think Sketchy is a pretty good resource and worth paying for. So I'm going to show you how to do it using the review feature. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to have Anki on the right side of my screen. You could also use Microsoft Word and then just make an outline. I just find Anki to be a little bit easier because you don't have to think about when you're going to be doing any reviewing. So to start, just click Review. You just click on the number 1, and then also down here it shows my keystrokes, which will make things a little easier to follow along. So then you click 1, and then you just go left and right, and it goes through the associations in the same order that the video showed them, which makes it super easy to review. So to start, I'll usually drag the picture into Extra. That allows me to make multiple close notes while still showing the same picture. So Staph aureus. Then I usually use Alt-Tab just to hop back and forth between the two. So it says what the picture association is in bold right here, and then it explains the association you're supposed to make. So I usually go really quickly and then just type up this box. If I found the association to be particularly difficult, you can type it into Extra, so I'll show you. So gram-positive, and then you just go one at a time. So you should be trying to pay attention to what the picture is that they're trying to associate. Then I usually really quickly just go through and make very quick close associations, kind of randomly. I don't put too much thought into it. So when you've made, so if you're looking at the Anki card I just made, you realize that my cards are relatively ambiguous, which is a problem when you're making cards for UWorld, but I find that it's less important when you're making cards with Sketchy, because I'm just using Anki to try to get a lot of repetitions, more so than I'm trying to learn how to organize the information, which naturally develops when you just do practice questions. So basically it's fine to have shitty cards and to not worry where like the close brackets goes, just as long as you're making sure that you have all the information and that you're getting all the repetitions. So reviewing on Anki lets you see the pictures more and more, which is really what's important. Because I normally don't love Anki because I find it very boring, and I find myself getting the same cards wrong over and over again. And I find that if I do get a card right, I'm not able to like generalize the knowledge outside of the card. But when you have Sketchy with the pictures, I find that it's much less boring to review, and also the information sticks and is generalizable. So one thing I was concerned about with regards to skipping the videos was that I was worried that I wouldn't understand the associations that were being made without the videos, but the review does a pretty good job of explaining why the picture was chosen in bold. And also, if that association wasn't intuitive enough without the video, it's because it's not a good association, and watching the video wouldn't really help it make it stick. So for Sketchy Micro, all the picture associations are really strong, so it doesn't take a ton of effort to connect the pictures to the fact. But for Path and Pharm, they have a lot of weak connections. So for Sketchy Pharm, a lot of times these connections would be based strictly off of like the first letter. So as an example, here's the HIV drug picture. So this is Lancelot, who represents lamivudine. So to get this association, you have to memorize that this random person's Lancelot, and then you have to connect Lancelot to lamivudine. So they, for Pharm, a lot of them have these weak associations. So what I would do to get around those is I would make my own. I would bring the picture into Paint and then just copy and paste my own little associations. So I would pull from Facebook friends, celebrities, pretty much everything. So for example, this is my buddy Hanson Lamb. So I found that to be a much stronger connection for lamivudine than Lancelot. So just to show you how I would do that pretty quickly, I'd right mouse click, bring it up, open a new tab. I use GreenShot. It's a little app that lets you take nifty little screenshots and bring them into Paint. And then, so Staph aureus, think of an association. Wrong button. And then I would just throw it over that guy. And then I feel like it just helps you remember things a little bit better. So I think this method is really effective for Pharm and Path because rather than watch a 30-minute video while passively studying, you're able to learn the associations and have the flashcards be made. It also opens up the option to use first names and last names of friends, which really helps the associations to stick. And it even allows for more precise associations. Also, you can find pre-made sketchy decks online, but I just always find it better to make your own cards because the act of making the cards is active learning, and you can include your own associations, and you can leave out the things that you already know. So I hope you found this to be helpful. Hopefully the stuff I go over isn't too obvious. If people find it useful, I can make another video on what I think is the most effective way to get through UWorld and to make Anki cards. So thanks for watching.